Manhattan Neighborhood Network, in partnership with the League of Women Voters of New York, Gotham Gazette, and the New York Amsterdam News, is pleased to bring you an interview with Daby Carreras, the Republican Party candidate running to be elected in City Council District 8. I'm Eleanor Tatum, publisher and editor-in-chief of the New York Amsterdam News. New York City's general election is Tuesday, November 7th. Thank you and welcome. So why are you running for this office, and what specifically makes you qualified for this office?
Well, I'm running for this office because we need real leadership and accountability. Specifically, what qualifies me, I'm a money manager. Now I'm dubbed the Wall Street politician, which I own because we can have Wall Street work for us. Managing millions of dollars and following contract law is very important in a diverse, hybrid community that we have. So besides that, the accountability that I will have is standing up to a situation that our mayor and the current city council member is pushing on the people in our community, and that's rezoning. I'm absolutely against rezoning. In fact, I started a party called No Rezoning Forever.
Have you been involved in the community board in your district?
Unfortunately, I have not. I put application after application, never been accepted. But I am an assembly district leader and a vice president in Manhattan. So
you consider rezoning one of the most pressing issues. Are there other issues as well in the district that are very pressing?
Yes. Housing is permanent housing. Affordability is extremely important. But other issues like, for instance, right now in our community, they're looking to co-locate sanitation garages. So I refuse to see East Harlem and really South Bronx become a dumping ground for the rest of the city.
Co-locate sanitation garages, yeah. With what?
Well, they're looking to build a new sanitation garage by actually moving one from Park a little bit closer. So we would have essentially 2 sanitation garages in East Harlem, one that's servicing Upper East Side and the other one that's servicing Central Harlem, all in East Harlem. So the asthma, the dust, mold, a lot of these things are just compounding on the lives and the lifestyles that people live there. And I've been here for almost a decade now, and I could see it. I could see how children are not as healthy as they should be because they're living with consistent mold, and now putting more garbage in the area is not something that my community wants.
One of the issues in your district is also high unemployment rates. Yeah. How would you work to meet the needs of your district with those, with trying to find well-paid jobs?
Local jobs. I mean, the other day a street vendor asked me, hey, you know, it's really hard to get licenses and get other things. Well, it's because the entire measure of rezoning. You know, what everyone I seems to be who's in government is looking to really sell our lands and sell these areas away to real estate and real estate developers by building big, large, dense buildings. So the people who live in these luxury housing are not going to be looking for, you know, a regular, you know, cafe con leche. Instead, they're looking for a Starbucks or something like that. So the people who actually live in the district, you know, 1 out of 2 people, they make less than $30,000 a year in some cases. They can't possibly afford the different type of lifestyle that gentrification in this type of way.
Well, some people may say that bringing in a Starbucks may bring in more jobs. Bringing in the building that would go on with some of the gentrification that you were against would bring in building jobs. So how do you counter that?
I want local jobs, community jobs, not big box jobs, community jobs, mom and pop shops, bodegas. These places, these things are falling apart. The culture in the community is falling apart by having these large, big sticker brand companies come in and really push the people who have lived there for years and years out. And with that, culture dies. You know, East Harlem, South Bronx, we're known for the arts. You know, that's the only thing that's really holding a lot of people here besides the awesome food and the music. I mean, if you take these authentic things of the community away, it's
So how do you plan to reinvigorate the area without building?
Well, it's by working with nonprofits. I mean, it's not about building. I mean, everyone thinks it's just, hey, I'm against big, tall, huge buildings. Yes, it's about the proper way of building a society up. You don't just move the goalpost and manipulate the markets by changing values and changing pricing. You have to build the community up by having accountability and helping these people and the rest of the people who are new citizens and new people in the community to walk up the economic ladder. You can never level the playing field. You know, all you can do is clear the playing field so we have an environment for everyone to grow. That's the issue.
In East Harlem, you've got issues of not a lot of proper supermarkets. You've got the issue of food deserts. Now, where's that supposed to come from without that people would consider putting a new supermarket in their gentrification?
There's food banks, there's community gardens, there's so much places for people to get food. Again, the answer is not rezoning. You don't need to rezone to do more affordable housing and permanent housing. You don't need to all this construction, which will add to the pollution to the area. You just need to have accountability with these nonprofits, with private companies, with even public companies. I mean, I speak with publicly traded companies every single day. These have solutions. These organizations foster solutions that bring accountability, and that's what we're completely lacking. Right now, the policy is they're not looking to do affordable housing. They're just using, mandatory inclusionary is really not inside of their contracts, which they change consistently. For instance, NYCHA. NYCHA is $17 billion in debt. This is an issue that just got another $35 million cut, which $7 million out of that NYCHA dollar pot was administration. So there's monies to be found that you can help these communities and help the problem that has gone on for a long, long, long time, and that is just the neglect. I feel that they're purposely neglecting my community and the people here, all of us, just so they can do something like this and just blow it out and push people out. I mean, look, in East Harlem, 75% of the housing stock is being pulled away. It's unlivable. Why is that? How could we possibly get into a situation like that? It's because of consistent neglect by the leadership. The names are changed, but the policy is the exact same. And people from this district.
Who owns that housing stock?
Well, I'm talking about specifically in this situation, NYCHA. So NYCHA has been consistently selling off because they're in tremendous debt. So they have $17 billion in debt. I mean, this is a big systemic problem that's been going on for a long period of time.
So NYCHA is selling off what?
A lot of their land, a lot of their assets, because they can't, see, ready, when you have bondholders, and this goes into finance, they have to come forward, you have to meet
So are you
these
talking
debts.
about the infield, or are you talking about other properties where people are living?
It's everywhere. I mean, one of the biggest thing is we have an influx in homelessness. So there's a lot of areas where people could be living, and there's a lot of places where people want to have rent stabilization and actually have an ability to build a family and build a life. But instead, they're left to live in shelter, and when the link system doesn't work, I mean, you go through link 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, voucher, all these, they're not working.
The other thing that we have issues of, especially in your district, is with losing 400 housing units every year to rent destabilization. There's a lot of tenant harassment, and what kind of protections would you put in place?
In city council, you can make ordinances, and that is very important. I mean, when it comes to rezoning, that's exactly what I see happening, because you'll have one landlord who may not be a great landlord, or who could be just a person who wants to leave and move to Florida or something like that. And he'll get with the other people in the area who may not be great landlords, and they will find a larger real estate developer who will say, I'll buy all your plots of lands if you warehouse one of these places so you can slowly harass the tenants and push them out. People who've been here for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50
Okay, well,
years.
we know what the problem is. How are you going to address it?
Address it with monies and solution. I mean, I'm a wealth manager. I have a vast network of people. There are so many answers that the markets, that nonprofits, that public and private companies can do and help. This is the problem. See, the reason why the mayor and the city council members...
But you still haven't told me how you're going to address the tenant harassment issue.
Yes. Well, obviously, legislation to stop it. That is a clear thing to stop harassment, because if you're doing something that is literally pushing against a person to move them out, you need to have some kind of force of grit and teeth of an ordinance or almost of a law that would stop a person from harassing their tenants in that manner. But again, the reason why this is happening is because the mayor needs money. And the only way he can figure out to get money is by rezoning the most poorest neighborhoods in the city. And it's really simple. We used to get 50% of our budget coming from the federal government, 25% coming from the state government, and 25% from the city. But our mayor refuses to work with the governor and refuses to work with the federal government to get these dollars. So things are falling apart. This is the reason why our train, like for instance, the train needs an $800 million rescue plan now. I don't see the mayor lifting a finger to even split that cost with the governor. These are problems. So it's all about funding dollars that the mayor needs. So his answer is push the people who are lower income out and import wealthier people in.
So before we end this interview, I just want to make sure we get to a few more things. Schools. How do you plan to improve access to early childhood education and after-school programs?
I'm so far for pro-charter schools that I much rather see our children in the neighborhood not have to go to school next to one of the 90 shelters that the mayor is looking to do, or these community-based jails that the mayor is looking to do by closing Rikers Island and putting luxury housing on Rikers Island and moving jails and shelters to the city.
So you're also pro keeping Rikers Island open?
I'm fixing Rikers Island. It's disgusting how, see, again, neglect. The city consistently neglects the people.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We have to wrap it up at that. Sure. The general election is on Tuesday, November 7th. For more information about voting, locating the poll site, and the candidates, you can visit the League of Women Voters website, lwvnyc.org, gothamgazette.com, amsterdamnews.com, or mnn.org. Thank you for watching Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Have a great day.